What's up, guys? So I'm going to try again to make Masha top global, and this is the first video I'm making for that. Before this game, I had around 2400 MMR on Masha, and I need around 5000 MMR to secure the top global spot. I want to achieve that in just 1 week, so let's see if I can do it, knowing that I'm a solo player and how hard it is to win and increase MMR. So in my first game, I was in the gold lane and I was up against Clint, but we still had a marksman, and he was in the mid lane. Some players really think having a marksman is a must, huh? Good thing we still had some magic damage thanks to Guinevere, who was in the XP lane. So there was already a clash in the mid lane early in the game. Good thing I made it in time to steal one of the enemies. And I was also able to kill Clint, my lane opponent in the gold lane, which gave me 2 kills and an early game advantage. So I went back to the gold lane. And if you see the minions like this, both low on health, and you know your lane opponent is nearby, it's better not to last hit them. I mean, just leave them alone so your opponent doesn't reach them in time. It's okay if you don't get the full gold as long as you deny your opponent from getting any. And when you're using Masha, never fight a full health enemy if you only have 1 HP bar left. Stack up your energy first using jungle creep since you can gain stacks faster there. I think it's about the same as hitting a hero. But keep in mind, you won't be able to use your 4th skill once you attack the enemy or if they attack you. And there are still some viewers who get confused about how Masha's ultimate gets reset. It's actually simple. Every time one of her HP bars gets depleted, that's when it resets. Just look at this. This part was a bit of a miscalculation on my end. I knew I could kill Clint at this moment. His flicker and 2nd skill were on cooldown. And yeah, I did manage to kill him. But the miscalculation was that his 2nd skill came off cooldown, and he cast it right before dying. That forced me to use my recall technique. I wouldn't have needed to do that if I hadn't been immobilized. So there was a team fight here, and I was able to kill Clint. Now tell me, if you were Clint, would you still use your flicker knowing that your chances of surviving are super low? Or would you just accept that you're dead and save your flicker instead of wasting it? This one was such a waste because I really felt like I could have gotten at least Maniac. But Lunox baited me. She was in dark form, then suddenly switched to light. And Florin's ultimate was way too early. My HP was still full and Ling still had a lot of health too. So when I actually needed the heal, it was already gone. The thing with Masha is, her HP bars don't increase when she gets healed, which is why she's not really a good match with support heroes. I'm always the one pushing, and I thought my teammate picked a marksman so they could help with pushing. But why is it still me doing the pushing? What's the point of picking a marksman in the mid lane? If it's just a free hit, a mage can do that too. Good thing we have magic damage because it's not marksman that required in this game, it's the balance of magic and physical damage. Balmond is the only tanky one on their team, but he still feels weak against me, so I can still burst him down. So yeah, I won the first game. Hopefully, I won't get unlucky with the dark system. Next game, I played as the jungler. Our lineup was really solid because our heroes countered the enemies, so they could barely do anything in team fights. So I just want to clarify this. Watch closely. My first basic attack dealt 199 damage, but the second one was already down to 111. By the third, it was only 75. As you can see, the buff starts to reduce damage when there are more heroes nearby. But there's a small window after the buff spawns where there's no damage reduction. So when they left, the damage of my first skill was 170, and my normal basic attack was 115. So you can do the math yourself. So you saw what our mage did earlier, right? They were just standing next to the buff, chatting, and not attacking the buff at all, which only delayed my farming. And then there was the Diggy, who was only helping with basic attacks and didn't even use their first skill. They barely helped me in that situation. After this game, I'll show you what my teammate did right, how to properly leash the buff. And for those wondering where I get this information, well, I read the patch notes because that update has been out for a long time. I even know the reason behind it. It's to prevent the enemy from invading your buff. And to make sure it's enough, they added another mechanic where, within the first 2 minutes, your damage against enemies increases when they're in your jungle camp. I'm not sure about the exact percentage though. So here, Diggy already had his ultimate, but he used it so late. I can't believe a player like this is already mythic. Did you think I was going to recall? Nope. Masha is actually a good counter against Fanny, as long as the enemy's Fanny doesn't snowball. Here, I thought our mage was going to steal my buff, but luckily she just helped me. So here's the second turtle of the game, and once again, I'll be the one to secure it. The enemy's mid lane is Angela, and they don't have any other magic damage besides her. So for sure, their magic damage is lacking, and it's really hard to win when it's like that. And Angela in the mid lane is fine in certain scenarios, as long as you're not lacking in magic damage, like if your jungler is Joy or Julian, for example. So here we're already invading and their Fanny didn't snowball. Look at what happens to the enemy. Tigreal sets up, but Diggy counters it. Benedetta enters, but Mincithar counters her. How are the enemies supposed to win when it's like this? They're really going to have a hard time when we're all together. Even if they try to bait Diggy's ultimate, who's going to do that? We can burst down anyone easily. So I'm just pushing here, and watch later how much damage I deal to the enemies. All of them are squishy to me. Even Fanny, who's flying around, will suddenly just drop to the ground. So yeah, Skypiercer deals true damage, and that was enough to take down Ruby at that point. This part really surprised me because I didn't expect my damage on Tigreal to be this high, especially since he's such a tanky hero. Even here against Benedetta, I was really shocked by how much damage Masha deals. It's just insane. Victory! So I'm at 21 stars now, and my MMR on Masha is already at 2.5k. It really makes a big difference when you're in a higher rank and having good games. So here's what you should do when leashing. Follow what Kagura and Joy did. After using their skills, they quickly leave. You also need to time it right after the buff spawns, so there's no damage reduction. The buff actually spawns at the 20-second mark. If you have long-range skills, try to maximize your range and stay as far as possible, because there's a certain distance where the buff won't have any damage reduction. It's not about when you hit them, it's about when you're near them. So there's still a long way to go to reach top global Masha. It would probably be much easier if I didn't spend so much time editing, right? If I were like other content creators who just put gameplay and NCS music, it'd be faster. But don't you get tired of that? I've never watched that kind of content because I know I wouldn't learn anything from it. Your game sense doesn't improve with that kind of content. I love watching creators who share useful information, like stuff I can actually use to improve in ranked games. That's probably why I make this kind of content too, just sharing everything I know with you guys. I don't mind if one day we end up in the same ranked game and you crush me. Honestly, I'd be proud if that happens because it means you've applied everything I've taught you. So I went up against two enemies here because I felt like I could handle them. But yeah, Masha really struggles when Argus has his ultimate. So I backed off for a bit and then engaged again after his ultimate wore off. Luckily, I was able to take both of them down. Then Hayabusa came to the rescue, but I'm even more of a ninja than him because I can recall back to base instantly. That ninja technique, the one that only a few players can pull off. That enemy ninja is useless. His moves are so easy to counter. I just waited for him at the shadow he left behind, but he didn't come back. My teammate chased him down, and he ended up dying. This game was really intense because the enemies were strong, and my one teammate is poison. Masha is a poison to the enemies, but when you have a Hanabi on your team, it's like she's poisoning your own team instead, because that hero is just so useless. I noticed there was an enemy in the bush, and I hesitated for a moment because I thought it was Argus. Turns out it was just Carry. So here's Argus, just joyriding with JS. He didn't even get to use his ultimate. I guess he was surprised by the damage. Then look at Lunux just standing there thinking she's inside the bush. We just pushed the turrets and it only took one Lord to finish this game. Luckily, I could still carry Hanabi because it's so hard to carry a hero like that. When the enemies get ahead, it's almost auto-lose. The enemies were still struggling to defend, which was so satisfying to see. They kept trying to defend even though there was no hope left. Argus is good at pushing in situations like this, but for defense, that hero is just trash.